Good morning, everybody. My name is Roberto. I'm an engineer here with EPCOM, and I would like to welcome you all to a E-Series webinar here that we have specifically for the license plate recognition camera. I would like to take a moment if you guys would go to the questions or the chat to see if you can see the screen well and hear my voice well. Okay, if I can just get a recognition that you guys can hear me clearly, then we can start the webinar. Just make sure to put the answer in the chat, please. Okay, thank you, Roy, and thank you, Jason. You can hear us clearly. All right, so now we're going to be starting the webinar this is going to be a webinar for the E-Series line for the LPR camera. If you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, put them in the questions panel and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. So once again, welcome. My name is Robert and I'm an engineer here for EPCOM. And here we go, we will start the webinar. So a general description of the LPR IPC. What IPC means is that it's going to be an IP camera, and LPR is license plate recognition. There's a couple versions of this function. There's LPC, which is license plate capture, which is completely different from LPR. The capture is just a regular camera. Any camera can do it. Any camera can capture the license plate or a car, but the LPR recognizes the license plate itself and detects the numbers on the license plate to give you a access or to block access from a certain plate or from a certain car into a community or a parking lot, or you just want a list, a data list of who's entering or exiting, or who's getting blocked, or who's a stranger. This camera can do that. So it's a LPR, it is not LPC. So a little background of the ANPR. The popularity of automotive applications in everyday life, intelligent vehicle management has become essential in many industries. So communities, just for example, the big parking lot, you can keep a database of who's entering, who's exiting, what car is coming in. So the ANPR, automatic number plate recognition, allows for the detection and identification of a vehicle's license plate number, which is a very important piece of data for searching a particular event. When you are going to search, when a particular event that does come up, you can search for that license plate, or you can search for the car, and it'll tell you exactly the time, the date that it entered or exited, and who has that license plate. So let's say down here, it says Jimmy entered at a certain amount of time. You can search from the database itself, you can search the license plate number, and it'll give you who exited at what time and who entered at that time. So the key technology, NPR technology allows for the extraction of license plates in complex situations, directly identifying each character in the vehicle's license plate, as well as the format and number of the plate. The technology includes license plate and character detection, as well as recognition, and it's all based on deep learning algorithms, so like AI. This is a list of contents that we're going to be going through today on this webinar for the LPR camera. We're going to go over the supported countries that are applicable for the camera. We're going to go over the applications, which scenarios are applicable, which scenarios are not applicable, and what it can be compatible with. And then we're going to go to the installation. We're going to give you a guide, recommended setups. Now, recommended setups are what comes default with the camera. Not every install is the same. More, I want to say like 80% of the time you will change some of the settings to play around with the recognition of the plates that will be entering or exiting out of your scenario. And we're going to go over the configuration, which is detection, identification, and the image configuration, such as brightness, shutter, and gain. And then last but not least, we're going to go over the product features, and it's going to show you the model of the camera. So if you guys would want to screenshot it or you want to know the model of the camera, then lastly, we will go to that page. These are some of the supported countries. It's not going to be all of them. So some of them will be Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, France, Germany, Greece, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Hungary, and the list goes on. The soon-to-be supported areas are Kuwait, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. There is also a supported areas in the US, so California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, North Carolina, New Jersey, New Mexico, Nevada, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Texas, and you can see there that the list can go on. Sooner or later, we're going to add more countries that can support this. A little note is the LPR algorithm is digits, numbers, and letters. The countries and regions on the supported list means that we have already successfully tested license plates from these countries. Our camera can also support countries, regions that have not been tested if the license plates from those countries contains digits, numbers, and letters. So now we're going to go on to the applications. These are the applicable scenarios in which you can use a LPR camera. So the first one is barrier control, one for entries and exits. Very important to note that you should not use a LPR camera as a shared entry and exit. You would need to separate the entry and separate the exit for a well scenario, for a good scenario. That is the accepted scenario. You can use it in traffic surveillance, illegal vehicles, but it's not for highways. You can use it for vehicle management, so like a parking lot. Like I said, you can see which cars enter and exit, and it has vehicle detection, so you can see what cars are in there, and you can look at the database in case something comes up, and you can look at it. And through the investigation over here as well, you can investigate important events. Now, these are some of the non-applicable scenarios. Just like I said before, you should not use this in a scenario with a shared entrance and an exit. The reason being is because right here you can see this is an exit and this is an entrance. Now the camera's here because the license plate in another country is most likely going to be in front of the car. This is for other countries, but in the United States, most license plates are on the back of the car. So if a car would come, it's going to open the barrier and it's going to pass. Now, the reason why this isn't a good scenario is one, you're impeding traffic. So you're using one for entrance and one for exit. What if both cars need to go, one needs to go out and one needs to go in? You're supporting traffic in that community or in that parking garage or in that scenario. So the correct way is to have one for an entrance. So the car is coming in and the barrier will lift up and will pass. And then one for exit, where the camera will recognize the license plate and the barrier will lift up. So you don't have that traffic going in and traffic going out. Another reason is if you have one for an LPR camera going in, the barrier will open, and if you have one for going out, the barrier will stay open because of the car still passing through. And the camera that has it on the exit side will most likely pick up that same license plate and it'll allow it to exit as well, so the barrier will stay open. So for the application, it is compatible with the NVR. It's a 32 channel NVR that's compatible with. We have different types of NVRs. For the E series line, we have a 4 channel, an 8 channel, 16 channel, and 32 channel NVR. The 32 channel one is the one that it's compatible with. And to set this up, you want to establish the license plate detection area. So a proportional range of license plates is between 5 degrees minimum and 30 degrees maximum. What that means is the minimum amount that it's going to detect, and 30% will be the maximum area that it will be detecting. You can set entry and exit directions, and you can configure whitelist, blacklist, and license plate recognition from that NVR. Now, the LPR camera does work with other models through the OnViv protocol, and it has a SD card itself, so you can use as a standalone. So you can have the database itself and look up the database from the camera itself. You can also use it on our software, our NVMS software. It has the live view. You can entry and exit time conditions. You can add user and vehicle information to the whitelist, and you can check the information of passing vehicles. So a little side note, E-Series is a new brand. It's different from our Epcom brand. It is Epcom, but it's E-Series, so it'll have brand new softwares. It won't be compatible with the softwares that you have been using with us up until now, like Hit Connect and Guardian Vision. It'll have new softwares. The softwares that we use for this line, we will explain later in a couple slides. You'll see what softwares and what applications we use for this line. Now we're going to go on installation. The first one will be user guide. So once I show you guys the model of the camera, you can go onto our page, and once you're on our page, you can look up the model. And once you're at the model and the page for the description of the camera, you can go to downloads, and on downloads, it'll give you a user guide for how to install the camera. It'll give you scenarios, it'll give you alarm cable management and how to cable the alarm, and it'll give you information based on the camera itself and some scenarios and some installations. So lens selection. The requirements is no obstructions on the license plate, lens with automatic iris mode suitable for a wide range of lighting changes, such as direct sunlight on the license plate, focus clearly and select the appropriate focal distance segment according to the height of the camera, and last but not least, the horizontal tilt angle of the license plate is in the range of -5 to 5 degrees. What that means is, here as you can see in the image right here, this license plate is 0 degrees. That means there is no tilt of the license plate. It's straight completely. It's leveled completely. On the second one, it's 5 degrees. It's acceptable. It'll still detect it. And then on the third one, it's 10 degrees. It's completely inclined. There is a possibility that it won't recognize the license plate. I don't know the percentage exactly, but the applicable scenario will be between 5 degrees and -5 degrees. So the lens selection, you need to also select a proper lens according to the following table. Now, all these are just different scenarios that we've used for the lens selection. Not all installations are going to be the same, which is why I said at the beginning that 80% of the configurations on the camera might be changed. Oh, installation requirements. So for the requirements, you would need a percentage of the license plate. The width of the license plate ranged from 6% to 50% of the total width of the image. So 6% being the minimum and 50% being the maximum. You would need some sort of external light to maintain a distance from the camera to the plate to avoid excessive light on the camera and obtain a clear image. And the recommended installation angle will be about 15 degrees to avoid vehicle light and on the camera lens. So on here you would see a typical installation. Yeah, entrance control, you would see the license plate 50% maximum, the outer rectangle here, and the minimum, which is the 6% on the license plate itself. The recognition distance will be around 2.5 to 3 meters, which is here. And then the height will be around 1.3 to 1.5 meters, and the angle will be around 15 degrees. Once again, here in this image right here, you can see a acceptable scenario. So here the car will come in at 2.5 to 3 meters. The camera will detect it with a height of 1.5 meters and an angle of 15 degrees. Another scenario that you can use this camera for is traffic surveillance. The height for it is around 4 to 6 meters, 15 degrees as well for an angle, which is the recommended degree for this angle is 15 degrees, and the recognizable vehicle speed is between 30 to 70 kilometers per hour. 70 kilometers per hour is the limit of this camera. It can't recognize more than 70 kilometers per hour. A little note is that it's not applicable for highways. The highest recognizable speed is 70 kilometers per hour, like I said, and it can be used to cover 2 lanes. So here on the image below, you can see that there's 2 different installation methods. You can put one on the post beside the highway. You can be one here or one here. It doesn't matter. It'll still capture both lanes. Or you can use it on the post on top of the highway and it'll capture both lanes as well. So for the recommended configuration, due to the great variety of scenarios in real life, some of which are not perfect, the configuration may vary. To cover all types of applications and scenarios, when the default or recommended parameters cannot achieve satisfactory results, please change the recommended settings according to the scenario. So some of the things you might want to change will be the brightness, the shutter based on the speed of which the car is coming at, the gain. It all depends. The lens is motorized, so it'll be between 2.8 millimeters to 12 millimeter lens. It's a motorized lens, so you can zoom in, zoom out, depending on where the car will be stationed during the recognition of the plate. And for detection, these are the key points that can affect the license plate captures: the definition, the size, the duration, and the area. So this is a recommended setting that you would use for the LPR camera. You would want to adjust the camera angle and height to ensure the plate remains in the image for more than 1 second. So right here in the settings of the camera, you can see the detection area is minimum 5%, which is this blue square right here. And the maximum area is 50%, which is the outer square, the outer yellow square right here. This is a recommended setting. A not so recommended setting is this one right here, which they set a minimum of 12%, which is the blue rectangle here inner. This is a not applicable, not recommended setting. And for the detection, how will it detect? So this is the plate proportion, which is 6% to 50%. The inner is 6%, the outer is 50. At 3.4%, you can capture the license plate, you can see the car, but it won't be doing the recognition at 3.4%. On the next frame, 4.5%, you can see the same thing. You can see the license plate, it's doing the capture. You can see the car, but it's not doing the recognition. At 6.5% is when the camera will start looking at the numbers. It'll do the ANPR. It'll recognize the plate, it'll recognize the numbers, and it'll tell you which list it'll be on, whether it's the allow list or the block list, or if it's a stranger. At 4.8% is the same thing. You can see the license plate, and at 24%, you can see it a lot clearer. Now for the recognition, this is the vehicle database. This is in the settings of the camera or the settings of the NVR as well. Here you can, when you go to the event, you will go to license plate recognition and vehicle database. You can add, you go to add right here and it'll show up this table. You'll put in the license plate number, the start time, and the end time. Normally end time will have a button around here. We'll say effective end time, and it'll immediately shoot up, I want to say 13, 14 years. So let's say it'll be, you put start time at 2020, and then end time, and you would check the box. You would check the box forever or whatever the letters say on next to end time. It'll automatically add 13 years. So it'll be at 2037 or 2033. And the owner is optional, completely optional. You can put their name, Jimmy or Robert or Jose. And then the license plate type is optional as well. After that, you can save it. The list type here, you can set whether it's on the allow list or on the block list. And then once you save it, it'll show up right here. There's also an option for bulk entry. You can add multiple vehicles. And there's also another option where you can export your configuration and import it through the bulk entry as well. This is the comparison and vinculation. So when you go to comparison and linkage, this is for the alarm. When you're adding an alarm, the camera has a dry contact. So you would have to put this trigger alarm out. And you have to click this box, alarm out. And you on the alarm list, you would put if it's on the allow list or the block list. So the license plate number is mandatory. And the maximum 12 characters. Owner's name is optional. maximum 12 characters. The vehicle type as well as optional, and list type is mandatory. 1 is block list, 2 is allow list, and 3 is unknown vehicle. On the bottom right, you can see this is the detection. This is the real-time monitoring of when it's recognizing the license plate. You can see it recognized the license plate here. It gave you the date, gave you the time, the license plate, and whether it's on the allow list or the block list. Now for the image adjustment, most of the time you will be changing the brightness, the gain, and the shutter. So right here, the brightness will be at 25. You can still see it at 5. You can also see it. So setting the brightness in this daytime profile to a smaller value will make the screen darker overall, but it will be more effective for reflective license plates. So license plates that are a brighter color, like you can see this cyan color right here, or whether it's like white or maybe like a light green, any light color, you can lower the brightness so you can see the license plate a lot clearer. So if the sun were to reflect off the license plate, maybe it'll cut off a letter or you can't see it because the license plate number is white. So setting the brightness down a little bit will darken the image and you can see it'll be less reflective. So on the gain, insufficient brightness will affect the brightness of the image. You can see on the first one and the second one. So the first one is the recommended. You can see the picture a lot clearer. And for the shutter speed should be reasonably adjusted to prevent blurry images. This will be determined by the scenario. So slower images. So let's say if the car is moving at 15 miles per hour or 20 miles per hour, you want a mid to a little mid shutter, like I want to say 1 in 100 or 1 in 1000 even. The reason is the scenes with lights, such as street lights, the exposure time is set to less than 1 in 100 and is prone to electrical frequency interference. So what this means is that the shutter will open the camera lens and close the camera lens repeatedly, so it'll capture the image and it'll have more time for you to recognize the plate. Like I said, this can be different in a lot of scenarios depending on where you're putting the camera. So setting the schedule day-night mode switch. The headlights directly from the vehicle will cause the image to switch from black-white mode to color mode, which is right here. And in a scene of dusk, the image quality may be poor. With infrared enabled, you can get a much better performance. A little note, a medium brightness value is recommended. The examples right here. Unit lux, it all depends on the scenario. This is the default day and night mode for the image. So for the day mode, you're going to have a brightness of 25. The shutter max is 1 in 500, and the minimum is 1 in 100,000, and the gain will be 10. This is for the day mode. This is the default for the day mode. For the night mode, the brightness is 5. The shutter max is on 1 in 500, and shutter minimum should be 1 in 100,000, and the gain should be at 10. Now these are the recommended settings for day and night mode. So here you can see the brightness adjustment comparison. So like I said here, with a lighter plate, such as the color yellow, if you lower the brightness, you can see that the plate will be much clearer after you lower it. But like right here as well, the number, since it's the light is reflecting off the plate, so you would lower the brightness and then you can see the license plate a lot clearer. This is the model and the product feature of the camera. The model is XB LPR Gen 3. It has a motorized lens of 2.8 to 12 millimeters. It's outdoor and IP rating of 67. It has one audio channel, one for input and one for output. And it has one alarm channel, input and output. And it's a dry contact. Another thing to note here is that it also has a Wigand output. And what that Wigand can do is you can add a reader, so as like a double security. So say in a community or a parking garage, the camera will detect the license plate, but it won't open the barrier until you pass a tag through the reader, or if it's a reader with a keypad, you can input the key code, the key code, and then it'll open the barrier. So it acts as a double security if you are going to use that option with the Wigand. For the image, it has a compression of H.265 plus. It's 4 megapixels at 30 frames per second. The interface, it does have a reset button. It's going to be on the bottom where the micro SD is also at, and the micro SD storage will be up to 256 gigabytes. It has a PoE of 802.3 AF, and the temperatures that it normally can support is minus 30 degrees Celsius and minus 60 degrees Celsius. Some of the functions of the camera, it has intelligent video analytics, such as vehicle license plate recognition and vehicle type detection. It has watermark and a privacy mask. The LPR, it can capture the LPRs, and it has a database of up to 10,000 and a range of capture of from 0 to 70 kilometers per hour. This is a live view through the web interface of the camera or directly on the NVR. So this will be on the NVR. You can see the car coming in up the ramp. You can see the license plate clearly. Once the camera recognizes the license plate, it'll go right here to the real-time history. You can see it captured the license plate. The date and time will be down here. The license plate, the type of list that it's on, and the name of the car or the owner of the car. This is the recording query of the captured plates. So when you go to the database, you will see a bunch of plates listed here. And here is where you can do a search of the plates. So right here you can see the search, see start time and then end time. And you can check or uncheck if you would want to search for the allow list or the block list, or if you already know what the license plate number was, you can check on the box right here where it says license plate number, put the license plate in, and you can put search, and it'll give you the result on this page right here. And once it gives you the result, you can click on the image or on the license plate, and it'll give you a brief video of when it entered and when it came out of the aperture of the camera. This is the mobile app. It's Super Cam Plus that it supports and Super Live Plus. There's also a third application that we EPCOM have branded called eConnect. It also supports that app as well. So to look for the license plate through the app, you're going to click on these three dots right here. And then once that, it'll open this set of settings right here. And you're going to go to search for event. When you click on that, it'll bring you to this page right here, the vehicle page. You to put in the time, the date, and the type, whether it's on the allow list or block list, or you can put all. And then it'll give you the results of the page. And once you click on one of these videos, it'll give you the video of when it was captured. Now to activate the relay, you can activate the relay through the mobile app as well. So it would be the same, just click on the three dots and it'll have the alarm out right here. And this is a little video on how the license plate camera is going to work and detect. You can see the car coming into the entrance side, the camera detected it, and the barrier opened up. Here it's going to show you the installation. You can see the height is at 1.3 meters, the recognition distance of 2.5 to 3, and the angle of 15 degrees. Once it recognized it, the barrier opened, and the car can pass. It'll show you that the license plate, it'll show you the date of when it entered, the time, the license plate itself, whether it's on the allow list or the block list. In this scenario, it is on the allow list, and the name of the owner. And this is a little setup of the alarm of the barrier. Now, and this is how to set up the LPR camera itself. So here you would go to event, you go to ANPR, and you're going to enable it. It does not come on by default. You're going to need to enable it. And once you enable it, it'll show you other settings as well. Once you save it, it says okay. Then you're going to go to comparison and linkage. This is where you can connect the you can enable the alarm out. If you connect the camera to an alarm to a barrier gate or any like a barrier gate or an electric motor or any of that, you're going to go to here to comparison and linkage, and you're going to click on this box, and then you're going to click save. Next, this is the area that it's going to be at. The area is drawn at a slower speed, such as a speed bump, and the license plate is in the positive area. And this is the schedule of which and when you want it to work and detect. And this is the vehicle database. Here they're going to add the license plate number, they're going to give it a time, put it on the allow list, and they're going to put the owner of the vehicle. Once you save, you can see right here, you refresh it and it'll show up on the list. So here, when he clicked on bulk entry, he exported it, and it'll export into an Excel spreadsheet, and it'll give you the list of the license plates that you have added into your camera. Now, this product and all E-Series products, not just this camera, this goes for all E-Series, all the E-Series line. Everything is NDAA compliant, and everything will have a warranty of up to 5 years. This goes for DVRs, NVRs, and IP cameras, and the turbo analog cameras. Anything that's on our E-Series line will have 5-year warranty and will be NDAA compliant. Now, thank you all for coming to the webinar, and I would like to take this time to answer questions. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them. On the questions tab, you can ask me anything, and I will try to answer them all. If you guys need help with a certain project, or you just need a private one-on-one question and answer, my name is Roberto Jauregui, or just Robert. You can call you can call EPCOM and ask for me, or my direct extension is 3414, and you can ask me about projects or anything, and I'll be glad to help you. Okay, Jason here has a question. His question is, let's say I have a 24-hour record. Is it possible for me to export all of the detections from that day to a Excel file? So for the recording is different from the list of license plates that you have currently on the camera. If it's recording, you can record 24 hours, 48 hours, it doesn't matter, but it won't go from the Excel file. It's a video file. The Excel file is just for the license plate owners that you have put on the camera that are on the allow list, and you set up yourself for the license plates. Thank you, Jason. At this point, I don't see any more questions. Like I said earlier, if you guys would want a Q&A, private Q&A, my name is Robert. You can call EPCOM. My direct line is 3414. You can ask for me, and I'll be happy to assist you with any future projects or any questions you have about any of the E-series lines and cameras and upcoming products that we have. If you're interested in this line or in the camera itself, you can ask for me and I can assist you in any way that I can. But as for now, thank you guys for coming to this webinar, and I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you.